Hello, my name is Alyssa Boutois, and you will not believe what I found out about this man after my presentation. But this is a Florida Innocence project, and this is about Edward Taylor by Alyssa Boutois. So, Edward Taylor got convicted for sexual assault, and why I want to explore this case because it was in Duval County, Florida, which is Jacksonville. And I believe crying wolf can ruin somebody's life even with little evidence. So the issues surrounding the wrongful conviction are particularly in the context of the criminal justice system. So I want to explore issues surrounding wrongful convictions and the factors that contribute to them. So, the primary cause of Edward Taylor's conviction included eyewitness misidentification and an inadequate defense system. In Taylor's case, the eyewitness who testified against him was not reliable at all, and there was also significant discrepancies in their identification of him as a perpetrator. So, Garrett 2011, which I believe is a book. So, additionally, his defense was inadequate, lacking necessary resources or expertise to challenge the prosecution's case effectively. Meaning, he really didn't have a good defense system, like, around him, personally, at all. So, that had a huge effect on everything. So all those factors played a crucial role in his conviction as they very much undermined the integrity of the trial process. So the effect of prison, it had a profound impact on him. So he spent over 30 years in prison for a wrongful conviction for a crime he did not commit, which only stripped him of his freedom but affected his relationships and mental health. um, of those relationships and of himself as well. This long period of wrongful imprisonment took a toll on his emotional well being, leaving him to grapple with his feelings of isolation, depression, and anxiety. In his own words, Taylor has shared the experience of being wrongfully imprisoned and how it was devastating. He faced immense challenges when trying to reintegrate into society after his exoneration, including rebuilding trust with his family, friends, and adjusting to a world that had changed significantly during his absence. And I got this from the National Registry of Exoneration. So, how did he exactly get exonerated? Um, so there is 7 steps to his process. And the first step is identification of new evidence. So after Taylor's conviction, advocates from the Florida Innocent Project began to investigate his case. They took on any new evidence that could provide his innocence, focusing on advancements in DNA testing that were not available during his original trial. 2. Filing a post-conviction motion. Once new DNA evidence was identified, the Innocence Project filed a post-conviction motion on Taylor's behalf. This legal document requested the court to reconsider his conviction based on newly discovered evidence. DNA testing. 3. The DNA evidence collected from the crime scene was tested and the results were compared to Taylor's DNA. The testing revealed that Taylor was not the perpetrator of the crime which he was convicted. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was saying Taylor and it wasn't Tyler or whatever. 4. Court hearing. A court hearing was held where new evidence was presented to the judge, and Innocent Project attorneys argued that the DNA evidence was demonstrated Taylor's innocence and highlighted the flaws in the original trial. Judicial review. The judge reviewed evidence including new DNA results, and any other relevant information. This process involved a thorough examination of how the original trial was conducted and whether justice was actually served. 6. Exoneration. After considering the new evidence, the judge ruled in favor of Taylor, obviously, officially exonerating him. And this ruling acknowledged that he has been wrongfully convicted of this crime, and that the evidence proved his his innocence, that he wasn't guilty. So the reintegration into society. So following his exoneration, Taylor faced the challenge of reintegrating into society after spending 3 decades in prison. This involved rebuilding relationships, finding employment, addressing the emotional turmoil and psychological turmoil of the wrongful imprisonment he had, and any PTSD. Thought process. I believe that he might have not been convicted due to the awareness that has increased of wrongful convictions, and there is now a greater emphasis on proper eyewitness identification procedures and the importance of providing accurate defenses. I got this from the Florida Innocence Project too. And I do want to add on this slide that I think there is a very important of providing adequate defense resources for defendants. And these changes could potentially prevent similar injustices from incurring in the future. All right. Reforms of the criminal justice system. So I think that we need to improve eyewitness identification protocols to ensure access to competent legal representation and ensuring the transparency of forensic evidence practices that are very essential and is very essential. This is why I said that this is why I would personally like psychological evaluation of all of these factors before presenting evidence before the law. Well, progress has been made. Continued efforts are necessary to address the systematic issues that contribute to wrongful convictions. So, very important. I think the psychological evaluations before you present evidence to the law is very much needed in today's justice system because the integrity of people is out the door. All right, slide 4. Like I said, I had a big surprise after. So, I needed to add this slide in because while I was doing this project, I was like looking up his name to pictures and documentation, more documentation. So when these headlights pop up and he is going back to murder for an attempted uh, back to prison for attempted murder for 40 more years after being exonerated. Yeah, I decided to put those 2 clips in there. After I found this out, like when I was doing it, I didn't even want to do the project anymore. I felt very ashamed But here's the project, and I hope you like it. Have a wonderful evening, guys.